In the smoky salons of the Western elite, the whisper of old money conjures images of grand estates, backdoor dealings, and priceless art collections. Their roots trace back to European aristocracy and have endured through countless eras. However, the allure of centuries-long affluence and unending political power is not confined to the marbled halls of the West. It is a siren song that reverberates across continents and cultures. Almost nowhere is this more evident than in Japan, that mysterious archipelago shrouded in mist and myth. It is a land so captivating that it has seized the world's attention as an everlasting enigma, one that oscillates between the ancient and the futuristic. A society that once closed itself off from Western eyes for centuries, Japan re-emerged in the second half of the 20th century, phoenix-like, mastering the art of modernity and, in many respects, perfecting it. Yet, in the enthralling arena of power that is Japan, a land where tradition and modernity meld into a captivating spectacle, which family name has arguably resounded the loudest and the longest? For 4 centuries, the Mitsui Dynasty has been at the mysterious core of old money Japanese power. An empire within an empire involved in banking, shipping, and countless other industries, the influence of the Mitsui name has been unparalleled, their wealth staggering, and their cunning without equal. In today's video at Old Money Luxury, we'll recount their entire saga, spanning 400 years, multiple emperors, and numerous historical epochs, as we dive into the story of the Mitsui family, the old money family that built Japan. The storied legacy of the Mitsui dynasty begins with the birth of their first patriarch, exactly 400 years ago, as of last year. He, Mitsui Takatoshi, emerged into the world in 1622, a native of Matsusaka in Ise province, today's Matsusaka, Mie prefecture. Although born to merchant parents, Takatoshi had samurai blood. His grandfather had been a samurai, the governor of Echigo province, until ousted and sent into exile by Oda Nobunaga. A fate seen as more merciful than the gallows, but one of social and political marginalization nonetheless. Takatoshi's father thus took the daring step of shedding his warrior status, pivoting instead to the world of commerce, a domain dominated by his adept wife Shuho. Such a transformation from samurai to merchant was uncommon, yet not unfathomable, particularly in an era when peace rendered martial abilities redundant. Opting for trade, viewed as a less honorable calling, was a strategic move for monetary stability. You see, 17th century Japan was a rigorously structured society with a ladder of status, emperor, shogun, and daimyo at the top, followed samurai, peasants, craftsmen, and merchants, and with the much-maligned burakumin languishing at the bottom. In particular, the Tokugawa shogunate held the reins of power, and rice paddies served as the currency of the realm. Landowners who knew how to churn out grain could count on both wealth and influence. In this societal backdrop, Takatoshi laid the cornerstone for Echigoya in 1673, a dry goods emporium in Edo and Kyoto. It was an innovative venture in a market where local products often sufficed, and Echigoya was more than a mere retailer. It broke the mold by presenting a different model for department stores. Specifically, its genius lay in its marketing strategies. Disregarding old-fashioned door-to-door peddling, Echigoya offered a tangible space for immediate transactions, a strictly cash-based affair with fixed prices. Indeed, its sights were set on an emerging demographic, the middle class. The ascendancy of this new class had been propelled by a confluence of factors, economic dynamism and social fluidity above all. Japan's Edo period was an epoch of tranquility that fostered trade and city development. Such conditions allowed traders and craftspeople to flourish, resulting in the formation of a vital new socio-economic bloc. And by 1683, Takatoshi was expanding the family's commercial footprint. He ventured into the money exchange arena and initiated a pioneering system for intercity lending. An Osaka branch followed, and by 1687, Echigoya had secured a contract as the official supplier to the Tokugawa shogunate, a symbiotic alliance, no doubt. Echigoya's repute for top-notch merchandise and savvy dealings made it a trusted resource for the shogunate's necessities, enriching not just the coffers, but also the standing of the Mitsui family in the business hierarchy. However, just as the Mitsui family seemed poised for unstoppable success, whispers of political upheaval began to circulate through Japan. In 1868, the Meiji Restoration would emerge as more than just a political recalibration. It was, in fact, a radical upheaval that reverberated through every stratum of the Japanese landscape. The Tokugawa shogunate, already buckling under economic quagmires, societal discord and humiliating treaties with the West, found itself stripped of credibility among both daimyos and samurais. Within this maelstrom of change, the Mitsui family, by then a towering edifice in the merchant and industrial sectors, had to re-evaluate their playbook. Their pivot toward the Meiji government would come not so much as a planned betrayal, but more as a pragmatic, calculated and necessary move. Indeed, loyalty to a faltering Tokugawa regime was tantamount to betting on a sinking ship, and the Mitsuis were astute enough to tether their destiny to the nation's prospective course. To dovetail with this new era, the family turned its gaze westward for business inspirations. Their tutelage came from a blend of avenues: recruitment of foreign savants, analysis of Western conglomerates, and dispatching kin abroad for erudition and skills. Equally crucial were their liaisons within governmental corridors and influential families, a nexus that rendered them an information hub and reservoir of clout. Specifically, two luminaries helming the Mitsui transformation during the Meiji era were Mitsui Hachiremon Takatoshi and his offspring, Mitsui Takashi. Takatoshi, whose life spanned from 1830 to 1897, was instrumental in steering the Mitsuis from being mere merchants to a diversified conglomerate. His tenure heralded an entry into the banking sector, establishing a financial bulwark for ensuing ventures. His child, Takashi, picked up the baton and plunged into uncharted domains like textiles and mining. Under this duo's aegis, the Mitsui dominion burgeoned considerably, unfurling its tentacles into realms as varied as cement, petrochemicals, and trade, while also diversifying into sectors further afield like financial services and real estate. Such diversification wasn't solely a hedge against volatility. It was a tactically orchestrated maneuver to rebrand Mitsui as a comprehensive conglomerate, built to weather the vagaries of a swiftly evolving world. Thus, the Meiji Restoration served a dual role for the Mitsuis, both as a crucible and a gateway. Maneuvering the intricate political labyrinths, adopting contemporary business archetypes, and branching out into diversified sectors, the family fortified their imprint as one of Japan's most potent and lasting commercial dynasties. However, as the 20th century dawned, it would bring with it challenges and transformations that promised to test both Japan and the Mitsui family in unprecedented ways. As we probably all know by now, the 20th century would mark a period of profound transformation for Japan, with the ascendancy of industrialization and the influential role of zaibatsu, the financial titans of the age, serving as cornerstones of modernization. In this era of tumultuous change, the Mitsui family, a paragon of mercantile and industrial prowess for centuries at this point, demonstrated an uncanny ability to adapt and flourish. Their foundations, solidified during the Meiji period by embracing Western business philosophies, fortified their enterprise against the winds of change. As Japan metamorphosed into an industrial powerhouse, zaibatsu, such as Mitsui, became indispensable conduits for national prosperity. The Mitsui Empire hence expanded its tentacles, enveloping an array of sectors from construction to energy and from finance to shipping. First, World War I heralded a defining moment for the Mitsuis. Takashi and Takakimi Mitsui, the dynastic stalwarts, deftly pivoted their trading arm, Mitsui Busan, from conventional commodities like rice and coal to more strategic assets like cotton and machinery. This adroit realignment resonated with Japan's wartime exigencies, propelling their fortunes further. And during the turbulence of World War II, the Mitsui Zaibatsu operated at the nexus of industrial and military agendas. Again, it was Takakimi Mitsui and his sons who orchestrated a symphony of economic endeavors, tightly knit with Japan's martial objectives. However, the post-war era posed a novel challenge: the Allied intent, under General Douglas MacArthur, to dismantle the Zaibatsu power structures and spawn a capitalist free market system. While the Japanese military had harbored a mixed sentiment toward the Zaibatsu, nationalizing swathes of their production capabilities, the US recanted its dissolution plans, seeking instead to fortify Japan as an anti-communist rampart in Asia. Confronted by these sweeping global currents, the Mitsui family once again exhibited their resilience. Among their many post-war transformations was an innovative venture by the Mitsui OSK Lines Group. They devised an economic model that funneled marine resources into terrestrial applications, inaugurating fresh industries and employment avenues in Kumajima with an annual economic infusion of approximately 2.5 billion yen. Thus, the Mitsui dynasty remained not just survivors, but pioneers, continually recalibrating their operational compass to align with the ebbs and flows of a century rife with change. Whether it was global wars or the challenges posed by modern capitalism, the family demonstrated an unerring knack for strategic adaptation, solidifying their standing as one of Japan's most indomitable and enduring economic citadels. In the ashes of Japan's zaibatsu, those colossal family-run conglomerates dismantled after the Second World War, rose a new system of corporate alliance, the keiretsu. This intricate web of business relationships found two forms, horizontal and vertical. The former, guided by a central bank and cross-ownership among companies, the latter chaining suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors. The Mitsui lineage, having weathered such changes for centuries, smoothly navigated this transition, assimilating into a framework that would define modern Japanese enterprise. You see, post-war Japan was a phoenix, rapidly reborn from the rubble. The era, roughly spanning the 1950s to the early 1990s, and coined as the Japanese miracle, became a fantastic enigma in economic circles. Far from mere hyperbole, the term captured a reality where Japan, from the brink of utter devastation, catapulted itself into a global economic titan. It was a marvel of speed and scale, pivoted on by rapid industrialization, technological prowess, and exemplary governance. Yet again into this narrative threaded the Mitsui family, their legacy already deeply rooted in Japan's business topography. As architects behind Japan's astronomical ascent, they employed a multi-sector approach, extending tendrils into energy, construction, and technology. Indeed, their diversification generated jobs, invigorated revenues, and kindled innovation. In this era, figures like Takakimi Mitsui and his progeny championed the family's strategic gambits. Takakimi revived Mitsui Bussan, the family's trading arm, maneuvering it to fuel Japan's post-war exigencies. Resource deals were inked, enriching Japan's road to recovery. His sons, visionaries in their own right, shepherded Mitsui into cutting-edge industries like electronics and automobiles. Not confined to Japanese shores, they spread the Mitsui emblem globally, enhancing profitability while siphoning technology that augmented Japan's industrial might. Their financial division played a pivotal role too. By funneling investments into the vertebrae of Japan's emerging economy, they gave thrust to industrial and technological booms. But Mitsui's impact extended beyond mere commerce. Philanthropy was woven into their fabric. Investments in education and welfare sculpted a workforce of engineers, scientists, and entrepreneurs, the minds propelling Japan's tech revolution. Fast forward to the present, the Mitsui Group, a global behemoth, still evolves, embracing cleaner, more sustainable ventures. Their energy solutions business unit, for instance, dabbles in next-gen solutions like hydrogen and biofuels. Across the Pacific, the Mitsui USA Foundation, since its 1987 inception, supports a multitude of American causes from education to community welfare. And Mitsui & Company has not shied from lobbying in the United States. In 2021, a six-figure budget was earmarked, targeting sectors from crop production to processing. And so the Mitsui empire, eternally adaptive, continues to assert its influence in the labyrinthine corridors of global business and politics. Thus, in the complex web of Japan's socio-economic elite, the Mitsui lineage indeed stands as an epitome of what one might term old money. However, they haven't been a stagnant pool of inherited wealth and faded influence. On the contrary, the Mitsui family has shown an uncanny ability to evolve, navigating the labyrinthine turns of modernity with agility and tact. The cornerstone of their enduring power lies in their chameleonic adaptability, a resilience finely honed over centuries. Their wisdom, in part, lies in their capacity to look beyond the island nation's shores. Embracing Western paradigms of commerce and administration, they've modernized operations without surrendering their inherent Japaneseness. And now we'd like to see you in the comments. Have you ever visited Japan and/or heard of the Mitsui Dynasty? We're excited to start featuring some old money families from other parts of the world, and we hope you'll join us on the journey. We are looking forward to hearing from you, and thanks again for your viewership on another episode of Old Money Luxury. Cheers, until next time.